Have you ever noticed those rare individuals who just seem to lift everyone up around them without even trying to be influential? What if I told you that traditional advice about influence actually has it backwards? That real influence isn't about techniques or strategies, but about how you authentically share your gifts. Now, here's a thought that might actually challenge everything that you believe about influence. What if your greatest source of influence is hiding in plain sight, in the very qualities that you take for granted? If these ideas are of interest to you, then you're going to want to stick around because we're going to dive into it much more. Now, my name is Jake Talbert, and I'm the author and founder of The Giver Method. And today, we're exploring something that could really change how you think about influence, and that's how to use your gifts and superpowers that you have to create positive change within your sphere of influence. Now, before we dive into that, let's go through a couple things. If you're new here, of course, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. Of course, like the video, comment your thoughts along the way. You can always find us at, thegivermethod.com, on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all those sorts of places. And we want you to go find us there or to subscribe to the channel because we don't want you to miss out on any of the content that's going to help you to unlock what your true potential is and help you become a true giver. Now, I keep using this term giver and the giver method, so if you're new here, you can go to the channel and there are all sorts of videos that break down what the Giver Method is in preparation for my book that's going to be coming out in about a month, The Giver Method. Now, just as a quick rundown, it is a framework that's going to focus on discovering and developing your unique gifts and superpowers so that you can create value for others while building meaningful relationships. And so each principle that I'm going to share today is grounded in principles and details that are within the Giver Method. Now, I have a philosophy that I do. I typically cover a principle, an idea, the strategy, the thing that you could go do, and then I provide you an action step. Now, the action step, the action item that you could have, it's something you could go do this week, this month, in the next little bit, in order to see a positive change in this area. Now, it's not about what happens here in the video because naturally in this video, you're not going to accomplish much other than learn some stuff. So I recommend you grab a piece of paper, open up some sort of a note, and jot down your thoughts as I cover those action items so that you can take it and start to implement those things this week, this month, today, as soon as possible, and start to see how your influence changes really quickly based off of putting those things into motion. All right? So let's dive into these principles that are going to really help you to master influence through your unique gifts and superpowers. Now, the first one, it's what's referred to as the listen first effect. So at the heart of meaningful influence is the ability to really listen deeply. Like we can, when we take the time to truly hear others and communicate that their ideas, their emotions, their perspectives hold value. Now, this level of listening, it goes beyond simply hearing the words. It's about reading between the lines and like tuning into things like their body language and understanding their needs and the emotions that might not be verbally expressed from what they're saying. And by bringing your full attention to the conversation, you're going to create a space where others feel safe to open up, that they're going to share more, and it's going to build trust. Now, in practice, this means setting aside your own thoughts and focusing solely on the other person. It's the kind of listening where we're not just waiting for our turn to speak or planning our response. When people feel this way, they feel seen and heard this way, they're more likely to open up to our influence. So listening first is a way to really cultivate that trust and set the stage for a more authentic connection. So this week, what I want you to do for an action step is I want you to practice a presence-based listening or deep active listening. And in every conversation, put away the distractions and listen as if that person's about to reveal something to you that is completely life-changing. Commit to listening without interruption or thinking about a response, and then reflect on the impact that this has on the other person and the conversation as a whole. Notice how it shifts your influence as a part of that. Now, our second one, I refer to as being the bridge builder. I've talked about this in other videos. So your superpowers often serve as bridges connecting people, perspectives, or even opposing ideas. Being a bridge builder means using your strengths to bring people together, whether it's through your ability to communicate or empathize or see things from multiple angles. Building bridges is about recognizing that there is a common ground between people, their values or their perspectives, and finding ways to highlight these connections so that you foster an understanding. So being the bridge builder and bridging these gaps, it will transform conflicts into more of a collaboration, or misunderstandings into having shared goals and moving forward together. So influence in this context comes not from imposing a viewpoint, but from helping others to see beyond their immediate perspective. By using your strengths to build bridges, you're going to create this collaborative environment where influence flows so naturally. And so the action item here is going to be to think of a situation or a relationship where you can use your strengths to bring people together or find common ground, and create a specific plan to build these bridges so that as it comes up, whether that comes up today or this week or in the next few weeks, that you have a plan of how you can bridge those two opposing views. Now, our third principle is what I refer to as the permission effect. Like, when we fully embrace and share your unique gifts and superpowers, you're not just stepping into your own potential, you're giving others permission to do the same. So this permission effect, it's a powerful form of influence because it's based on modeling authenticity. When people see someone being confident about themselves, it really encourages them to let go of the masks or limitations that they have and explore their own gifts and superpowers without fear. Like, authenticity, it is contagious. It inspires others to seek and share what's real within themselves. And so that causes that ripple effect of authenticity, and it creates a culture where everyone feels valued for who they truly are. And this influence, through example, where being unapologetically genuine can have more of an impact than any traditional leadership approach could have. So the action item here is going to be to choose one area where you've been holding back your authentic gifts, and I want you to commit to sharing them openly this week and observe how it affects others' willingness to be more authentic with you. Our fourth principle is about creating a value or understanding the value ecosystem. Influence that lasts isn't about the one-off actions that happen. It's about building an ecosystem of value through your superpowers. So this value ecosystem means using your gifts and superpowers to create an environment where people and ideas can thrive. It's about making others feel valued in every interaction, creating this support culture with each other of support and inspiration and growth. Imagine that each time you are in an interaction, a discussion, an engagement, look at those as building blocks that really contribute to a larger interconnected web of value that you are really cultivating. Within this ecosystem, influence is less about what you say and more about the atmosphere you help to create. So by focusing on actions that uplift or encourage and provide value, you're going to build a community around you that naturally embraces your influence. And so the action item here is going to be, take the time and map out your value ecosystem. Like, how can your unique gifts or superpowers create sustainable value for others? What environments can you create that naturally fosters growth? Think of smaller, consistent ways that you can create that value within that immediate environment. Reflect on how these actions contribute to an overall ecosystem that you're building. Now, our fifth principle is I've referred to in the past as you becoming the momentum builder. True influence is built gradually through consistent, authentic actions that generate momentum over time. This momentum is created not by grand gestures or authority, but by steady application of your unique gifts and superpowers. Each genuine act of influence, no matter how small, adds to the trust others place in you. Momentum building is about showing up consistently, whether it's in your words, your actions, or even in the small ways you engage with others daily. It's a reminder that lasting influence is not a sprint, but a marathon, one that requires dedication and patience to see it out for its full effect. Like, through a steady contribution, your influence begins to gain traction and reach new layers of impact. Now, I speak of this idea of it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Now, I may not look like it, but I'm a marathon runner. I've done 6, and I've completed 6 marathons and a couple half marathons and some other things. And I can tell you that I am not a sprinter. I'm not a fast runner, but I'm slow and steady, and I know that I will complete the course. I'll get there. And so it's the same idea when it comes to how you're going to build that momentum for lasting influence. You just have to keep going forward. Some people are going to be faster than you, which is fine. Some people may be slower than you. That's fine too. You go at your own pace. And so the action item here is I want you to identify maybe 2 to 3 small daily actions that align with your superpowers and commit to these actions for the next 30 days and track how by doing these actions, these small actions every single day, is going to build trust, and how it's building momentum in your relationships because you're constantly showing up with them. Now, the sixth principle is that you need to become like the trust accelerator. Like, this is the way to accelerate the trust that you're building within a relationship between you and one other person, or within a group. And so trust, I mean, as we know, it's the bedrock, it's the foundation of influence, and it grows more rapidly when you lead with your natural gifts and superpowers. When we show up authentically, people recognize and respond to our genuine intentions instead of relying on techniques, which may feel insincere. They may be sincere, but they may feel insincere. Leading with our strengths actually creates a foundation of trust that just can't be replicated. And so this trust forms quickly because authenticity really does resonate with people, and it speaks directly to the human need for real and transparent connections. And so accelerating trust through your strengths means being dependable in your actions and being true to your word. Over time, this approach builds a relationship where others really feel secure, knowing that they can rely on you. People are more likely to be influenced by someone that they feel like they can trust without any sort of hesitation. And so the action item here is I want you to reflect on one strength that you just naturally bring to your interactions. I want you to maybe list out some situations where you've been using influence techniques instead of just natural gifts, and look for the ways that you can start to consistently lead with your strengths, your gifts, your superpowers, and observe how it builds trust more quickly in your relationships. You're going to want to plan how to approach, these in different situations, whether it be at home or with friends or at work, and that you can do it authentically in how you're doing it. Now, our seventh principle is going to be, I talk a lot about legacy and becoming a legacy creator. And so influence that matters most is the kind that leaves lasting impact, creating a legacy that endures even in your absence. So the legacy creator principle is about thinking beyond the immediate influence and focusing on contributions that have lasting positive effect. So when you share your gift with intention of creating a lasting value, you're not just, impacting the present, you're setting up a framework that others can carry forward. So this could be in mentoring or teaching or creating a system that empowers others to continue the work. And so by aiming for a legacy, you're building something sustainable. It's not just about creating impact for today, but planting the seeds that will continue to grow and serve others. Your influence then becomes a guiding force that others can build upon, amplifying the ripple effect far beyond your direct reach. One of the core values that we have within the company that I run day to day is we talk about being a force of nature. And so being that force of nature means, when I'm showing up, I'm going to deliver things that people need now, but I'm also setting the stage, the systems, the process, or whatever that could be, to allow them to continue to grow and feel the value over time. And so it's that same principle. And the action item here is going to be identify one way that you could use your gifts and superpowers to create something that will continue to benefit others over time. This might be through a mentoring like we talked about, or developing some sort of a guide, or creating a resource that others can use. Write down the legacy that you want out of your influence and that you want to create. How can you use your unique gifts and superpowers to contribute to a lasting positive change? And then go start implementing those and start doing them as often as you can. Now, along the way, there are challenges that come up. And so I want to address what some of those challenges are as people are trying to grow their influence. So the first one is there's a fear of being seen as you're pushing your agenda. And so one of those most common concerns about influence is worrying about that, like how people perceive your efforts as self-serving or as that personal agenda. When we're focused on making an impact, it's natural to want others to understand our clear intentions, but this fear can hold us back from fully sharing what our strengths are. So what you want to do is you want to just lead with transparency and intention, begin every interaction by openly sharing your purpose and the benefits you hope to provide others, and emphasize mutual growth and value that you're bringing and that they bring to this exchange. Show that genuine interest in their goals and consistently aligning your actions with their needs rather than your own. It's going to help to build that influence and make that influence feel collaborative rather than one-sided. Now, there's also the challenge people experience of balancing authenticity and effectiveness, because when we feel torn between being true to our authentic selves or adapting our approach to be more effective in certain situations. Like this balance act, it can create an internal struggle and make it difficult to confidently bring your true self into different situations. So what I would recommend that you do is focus on adapting how you communicate rather than who you are. Authenticity doesn't mean being rigid. It's about expressing your true self in ways that is considerate of the environment and the people involved. Practice subtle adjustments that align to your strengths, but also resonate with you. And remember that authenticity is the most effective when it meets the others where they're at without losing the core of who you are. Another challenge is maintaining influence without creating a dependency. I've seen that happen before. And so a common challenge, when you're sharing those gifts, is avoiding this dependency. When people look to us for guidance and support, there's a risk that they may become overly reliant, which could, start to build strife, and could slow their own growth. So the solution here would be to aim to empower rather than solve. Instead of providing answers, ask guiding questions that encourage others to develop their own insights or their own solutions. Offer tools or frameworks that enable them to build confidence and independence. And fostering this mindset of empowerment is going to help people to take ownership of their own growth while still benefiting from your influence and support. That leads a lot towards that legacy builder piece that I had mentioned earlier. And then, of course, one of the other challenges I see is that staying true to your gifts while adapting to situations. As we expand our sphere of influence, we're often called to adapt to diverse situations and individuals. I have videos that cover this topic, but I'll just briefly hit on it. This can sometimes make it difficult to stay grounded in your unique gifts and your values, leading to a sense of maybe disconnect from our true self. So what I would recommend that you do is identify core qualities of your gifts that are non-negotiable and really focus on those. Define the essential strengths that are really central to your influence. Then consider flexible ways to express these qualities in different contexts. A lot of it is about this idea of pre-planning what the situations may be. And so by staying rooted in the why behind your influence, you can really adapt the how while remaining true to what makes your approach unique and impactful. Because mastering influence through superpowers, it isn't about the techniques or the strategies we talked about. It's about consistently showing up with your authentic gifts and creating value that naturally draws others toward a positive change. So I always recommend start small. Choose one of your unique gifts to share this week and share it openly. Notice how being authentic and having authentic influence grows not from trying to be influential, but just from genuinely serving others through your natural abilities. You could take any one of those action items we talked about and start putting those things into practice today, this week, this month, and really start to see those changes. If you're ready to dive deeper into discovering your gifts and superpowers and sharing them and building on your sphere of influence, then I highly recommend that you go to thegivermethod.com and you sign up for our newsletter or sign up to get the book when it comes out here in about a month. When you sign up for the newsletter, though, you're going to receive exclusive tips or insights on growing your authentic influence. Now, if this video resonated with you, once again, I want you to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone that might need to hear this message so that we can spread this power of authentic, influence. And so until next time, until the next video, keep growing, keep giving, and remember that your unique gifts are key to authentic influence. So definitely use them and use them wisely and believe in yourself because the world's waiting for you to step into who it is that you were meant to be. Remember that influence, it isn't about getting people to do what you want. It's about creating positive change through the authentic sharing of your superpowers. When you focus on consistently giving value in your own unique way, your influence grows naturally and it creates a ripple that, a positive impact that goes far beyond what you'll ever be able to see. And so with that, we'll catch you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.